Banned then, now unfiltered? Has Bang Si-hyuk quietly changed the idol rulebook as Jungkook's tattoos go fully public? Was this moment inevitable, or is it a carefully timed signal? When a 13-second fan-compiled video of Jungkook casually revealing his full-arm tattoos erupted across social media on December 17, 2025, the reaction wasn't just thirst, awe, or disbelief. It was something deeper, sharper, and more unsettling for longtime K-pop observers. Why now? Why so openly? And most importantly, what does this say about the man whose management philosophy once symbolized control and polish, Bang Si-hyuk? For years, fans of BTS have learned to read between the frames. Every exposed wrist, every rolled sleeve, every fleeting glimpse of ink carried meaning. In an industry that historically disciplined individuality, tattoos were not just body art. They were controversy waiting to happen. Idols were once styled to conceal, blur, or deny them. Broadcast standards, advertiser sensitivities, and agency risk management all converged to create an unspoken rule. Don't show too much, don't say too much, don't become bigger than the image. When a fan account uploaded a short compilation on X with a breathless caption, "Jungkook's tattoo OMG," and the clip amassed tens of thousands of likes, reposts, and hundreds of thousands of views within hours. The shock was not just about skin. It was about permission. Who allowed this? Or more provocatively, was permission no longer required? The video itself is deceptively simple. Jungkook reclines on a bed in black pajamas, the top unbuttoned, his right arm fully visible. The tattoos, colorful, dense, meticulously layered, are not teased or half-hidden. They are simply there, living on his skin without apology. Another moment places him in a living room, chatting casually with someone believed to be a fellow member. Then a wooden interior, possibly a sauna, where someone adjusts his sleeve as Korean text flashes briefly. "Jashin-ups, not confident." Is that a joke, a challenge, or a meta-commentary aimed at the audience itself? Fans reacted instantly, and the comments read less like fandom chatter and more like collective disbelief. For free? WTH. This feels illegal. His tattoos are his masterpiece. These aren't just compliments. They are acknowledgments that something once restricted has crossed into the open. The subtext is clear. We weren't supposed to see this like this, yet here it is, unfiltered and unbothered. To understand why this moment feels seismic, one must rewind. K-pop's second and third generations were defined by rigorous image control. Tattoos were blurred on television, covered with bandages, or explained away as temporary stickers. Agencies worried about conservative backlash, international misunderstandings, and the fragile balance between rebellion and respectability. Bang Si-hyuk himself, in earlier eras, was associated with a philosophy that emphasized narrative cohesion and long-term branding over impulsive self-expression. BTS were revolutionary, yes, but even their rebellion was carefully framed. Jungkook's tattoos have always existed in that tension. First glimpsed years ago, they appeared gradually, hands, fingers, small symbols, often sparking debates about meaning and permanence. Fans analyzed every line, every motif, turning ink into lore. But for a long time, the exposure felt negotiated. Stage outfits covered arms. Broadcast appearances softened angles. There was always a sense that visibility was being rationed, which is why December 17, 2025, feels different. This wasn't a photo shoot. This wasn't a comeback concept. This wasn't an officially captioned reveal with artistic justification. It was mundane, candid, almost careless. And that carelessness is precisely what made it powerful. Has Bang Si-hyuk changed? Or has the industry changed around him to the point where resistance no longer makes sense? Insiders often describe Bang as a strategist rather than an authoritarian. His management style has evolved alongside BTS's global rise, adapting to Western markets where authenticity sells and individuality is currency. In the US and Europe, tattoos on artists are not liabilities. They are signatures. Jungkook, now a global icon rather than a domestic idol, occupies a space where traditional K-pop rules struggle to apply. Restricting him may no longer protect the brand. It may limit it. Yet fans are right to ask whether this shift represents a philosophical transformation or a pragmatic surrender. Is this freedom earned or simply inevitable? Has Bang Si-hyuk fully abandoned the old idol rulebook? Or is Jungkook an exception so powerful that rules bend around him? The speculation grows sharper when one considers timing. BTS are in a mature phase of their career. Individual identities are no longer threats to group cohesion. They are assets. Jungkook's tattoos, once potential scandals, now function as visual shorthand for growth, resilience, and self-ownership. In an era where audiences crave realness, the ink reads as truth written on skin. And yet, the question lingers like static. Why now, and why so openly? Could this be a signal to the industry that the age of sanitized idols is officially over? Or is it a controlled experiment, testing how far boundaries can stretch without snapping? Fans sense that this is about more than Jungkook. They remember a time when idols were scolded for dyed hair, for dating rumors, for speaking too honestly. Seeing Jungkook lie casually on a bed, tattoos blazing in full color, feels like watching history quietly rewrite itself. No press release announced the change. No manifesto declared it. The shift happened in silence, and that silence is what makes it loud. What makes the moment emotionally charged is its ordinariness. Jungkook isn't performing rebellion. He isn't explaining his tattoos or defending them. He exists, comfortable in his body, confident enough to let the camera linger. That confidence challenges not just industry norms, but the audience itself. Are we still shocked because the rules persist in our minds even after they've dissolved? As the video continues to circulate, becoming edits, memes, slow-motion compilations, and analytical threads, one thing becomes clear. Jungkook remains the center of gravity, even in simplicity. No choreography, no stage lights, no concept, just presence. And perhaps that is the ultimate proof that control has loosened. When an artist no longer needs framing to command attention, management philosophy must adapt or become obsolete. Bang Si-hyuk's silence on the matter only fuels intrigue.
No denial, no clarification.
No attempt to contextualize. In the past, such moments might have been quickly addressed, re-edited, or quietly buried. This time, the absence of response reads as consent, or at least acceptance. Is that silence the loudest statement of all? For a long-time ARMY, the emotional weight is undeniable. Watching Jungkook's tattoos in full view feels like witnessing a promise fulfilled. The boy who once debuted under strict expectations now stands as an adult artist whose body tells his story, without subtitles. Fans call the tattoos art, but perhaps they are also evidence that the idol system, once rigid and unforgiving, is being reshaped from within. Still, skepticism remains healthy. Freedom in K-pop is rarely absolute. What appears spontaneous can still be strategic. What feels raw can still be calculated. The industry has mastered the art of controlled authenticity. So the lingering question persists: is this genuine liberation or a new, subtler form of management? Maybe the answer lies not in policy changes or executive statements, but in the ease with which Jungkook moves. There is no tension in his posture, no hesitation in his exposure. Tattoos are no longer hidden chapters. They are part of the text. And when fans gasp, scream, or joke that it feels illegal, they are really reacting to the collapse of an old boundary they didn't realize still held power. In the end, this is why a 13-second video matters. Not because it shows skin, but because it reveals a shift in gravity. The center has moved from control to confidence, from restriction to resonance. Whether Bang Si-hyuk orchestrated this evolution or simply recognized its inevitability may remain unanswered. But the result is undeniable. Once, idols were told to cover up. Now, Jungkook doesn't bother. And in that quiet act, a question echoes across the industry and into the hearts of fans worldwide. If this is allowed now, what else is about to change? The question doesn't fade. It grows louder the longer the clip circulates, the longer fans sit with the feeling that something irreversible has already happened. Because once the boundary is crossed, and crossed this casually, it cannot simply be redrawn. The industry can pretend nothing changed, but audiences know better. They always do. What makes this moment especially unsettling for longtime observers is how quietly it arrived. There was no scandal, no backlash, no public apology cycle. No broadcasters rushed to blur frames. No agency issued a reminder about standards. The system that once reacted instantly now stands still. And stillness, in this context, feels like surrender. For decades, the idol industry survived by maintaining an illusion of control. Idols were marketed as aspirational yet contained, expressive yet managed. Even rebellion had limits. A ripped jean, a smoky eye, a lyric hinting at frustration. Everything calibrated. Tattoos, however, were different. They were permanent. They suggested agency beyond contracts. They implied a self that existed before and after the stage persona. That is why tattoos were once dangerous. Fans remember how even whispers of ink triggered concern. Would sponsors pull out? Would conservative audiences react? Would broadcasters intervene? Management philosophy was built around avoiding those questions entirely. Prevention was easier than negotiation. And yet here we are, watching Jungkook's full sleeve exist in plain sight, unchallenged, almost mundane. That word keeps returning, because the most radical thing about this moment is how unremarkable it is treated by those in power. The drama exists almost exclusively among viewers, not gatekeepers. Fans scream in comment sections, media outlets chase engagement, timelines spin theories, but the machinery behind the scenes remains calm. That calm suggests preparation, or perhaps exhaustion. Maybe the system no longer has the energy to fight what audiences clearly want. And what do they want? They want artists who feel real. They want bodies that tell stories. They want imperfections, choices, permanence. Jungkook's tattoos, layered and complex, function as visual autobiography. Fans don't just admire the art, they read it. Every symbol becomes a chapter. Every line invites interpretation. In an era of oversharing, the tattoos paradoxically offer mystery, meanings that are visible yet never fully explained. This is where management philosophy quietly pivots. Mystery used to be enforced through concealment. Now it thrives through exposure. I ask this what Bang Si-hyuk has understood. Consider the timing again. The fandom is older. The audience is global. Cultural expectations have shifted. Western pop culture long ago normalized tattoos as markers of authenticity and credibility. In that landscape, continuing to hide Jungkook's ink would feel artificial, even regressive. It would create friction between image and reality. And friction, when unmanaged, damages trust. Trust is currency now. Perhaps this is less about allowing tattoos and more about preserving credibility. When fans sense dissonance, when they know something exists but are told not to see it, they disengage or rebel. By contrast, openness disarms criticism. There is nothing to expose if everything is already visible. No scandal if there is no secrecy. Yet even this explanation doesn't fully quiet the unease. Because if tattoos are now acceptable, what does that mean for the next boundary? Dating? Political expression? Open critique of the industry itself? Each rule that dissolves invites another question, another test, and fans are watching closely. They notice how Jungkook no longer adjusts his sleeves instinctively, how cameras no longer cut away, how stylists no longer rush to cover skin. These micro-changes accumulate into a larger narrative. The idol is no longer being protected from himself. He is being trusted. Trust. Another loaded word. Trust implies risk. It implies that management believes the artist's choices will not damage the brand, or that the brand is strong enough to absorb the impact. Either way, the power dynamic shifts. The idol is no longer just a vessel. He is a partner. This is why speculation keeps circling back to Bang Si-hyuk. Not because he personally approves of tattoos, but because he represents a philosophy that once prioritized cohesion over chaos. If that philosophy has evolved, it signals a broader recalibration within the industry. One that acknowledges that the audience no longer wants perfection. It wants alignment. Alignment between who an artist is and what they show. The emotional response from fans underscores this. Many describe the video as thrilling, but also strangely affirming, as if seeing Jungkook's tattoos so clearly validates their years of support.